Now, I've made my speech. Anybody want to ask me a question? I have quite an experience. Go ahead.
The lending decisions being made by a federal government agency, it's been mentioned, but I forget. Is that correct?
That's correct. FRA is going to make that decision.
We all know about behind-the-scenes pressure and so on. They've applied, that group, you're told by somebody who's unwilling to go public, has rejected their application?
They have not rejected it.
They said, you got to come back with a better application and information. Do we have any idea what the timing is, or is there timing before the November election, after? I'm just trying to think about where the pressure points might be among who in Washington that's running for office.
I'm going to give you an opinion, okay, from what I know, and that's reasonably considerable through KC's efforts, okay? They have made an application for a railroad infrastructure loan. All right, this is a low interest rate loan like they said earlier. That is still in process. In your area, one of the third-party reports, just like your home loans where you have to have appraisals and things, that's what a third-party report is, has been completed and your public comment area time has expired. Don't let that bother you. It is only a report that is part of an application process. It is not a done deal. It's just a thing, all right? Now, it's not a good thing, but it's not a terrible thing. KC has been enormously successful of meeting with her political advisors, or let's say, or politicians, all right? Senator Negron carefully listened to her and then took a very strong stance. Congressman listened to her carefully, then took a stance. They didn't come rushing in the door and say, we hate trains. Her model has created a huge tidal wave of dissension in Washington and on the Martin County scene. What I'm saying to you, sir, is go after them and tell them what's going on. They don't get it. They think this is a done deal. First thing we heard, done deal, nothing we can do. I said, where's the money? I mean, I'm a community-minded guy. I'm in a small business. But tell me where the money is.
But do we know, is it Department of Transportation that has this lending organization, RAF, or who are
FRA, Federal Railroad Administration, got $35 billion from the Obama administration, earmarked as not loan guarantees, but cash out of the Treasury.
I understand, okay.
All right, FRA. Go after your politicians. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I just want to make a comment
Go ahead.
How shameful it is that here they approve an environmental impact statement that affects us here, and no one even knew about it or had an opportunity to even discuss it.
You and I have talked about that. They flew it under the radar screen, only they made a mistake. They weren't counting on these two ladies, okay? They messed up, okay, because they put it in the newspaper and oh boy, that got exciting really quick. I got involved. I have a hard time keeping up with these two, okay? These profound community advocates have made an impact that is going to change the way you folks live in a positive way. I'm very proud of both of them. And so I can contribute what I know, and finance is what I know. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Yeah, the RIF loans, where have they been used previously?
We know of a few, and you can probably help me more because I was more focused on the terms of the RIF loan, but go ahead, Casey.
Right. I believe there's around 30 loans over the course of, Phyllis, you may be able to know, I don't know, since 2099, right around that area. I'm going to tell you the largest RIF loan to date was to Amtrak, and it's for $1 billion less. It was about $500 million. So this is going to be the largest RIF loan to date if it is approved.
And so, but Amtrak, are they able to use them for the highway, for the roads, to put them on, if we wanted a double-deck I-95 as an example, or something like that?
It's used for the railroad Amtrak. It would be used, it could be used for them to purchase more cars, it could be used for them to improve their infrastructure. I can't tell you exactly where every dollar went with Amtrak, but it is used in conjunction with their infrastructure, and their company.
Thank you.
This may be a little bit of a political question. I'm just trying to understand, because the Tampa line got nixed, will the FRA be more apt to approve monies for another high-speed rail project down here because of that? Because that first chunk of money got nixed, and now here, you know, they can still do something in Florida.
The long and short of it, this has to be a feasible project. You asked that, and it is, passenger rail is an Obama administration initiative. They want to increase passenger rail in the United States. But the FRA, and this is why we want all our elected officials to be involved, we need to make sure this loan is a feasible project before our money is spent. So just because they want more passenger rail line doesn't mean they should be loaning money on it. They should loan money because our money can be paid back. We are expecting our elected officials to spend our money judiciously and wisely. We greatly question the feasibility of a project when there are no profitable passenger rail lines in North America.
The congressmen, at this point, you feel are making the feasibility argument against that application?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yes.
And that's a process going on now.
It is, and we would like more congressmen to join the voices of Congressman Posey and Congressman Murphy. They're our federal representatives, and we would like some from the South here as well. And please, I want to point out to this, on the table here, I actually have the letter from Congressman Posey and Congressman Murphy. Take them home with you. There's a lot of different information here on the table. Hand them out to your friends and neighbors. Take it home. There are petitions there. Please sign them if you're against this project. We want to continue to get more people to sign that petition.
Yeah, I have a number of articles I would just like to briefly read
Okay.
that relate to a lot of this.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, you guys have done a fantastic job.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, in the last 6 months, we've learned more about trains than I ever thought I'd know possible.
My name's Alan Schlossberg. I live here in Delray Beach. I've been here now for 17 years, my wife and I, and we've been here full-time for the last 5 or 6 years. And we love this town, and we're so devastated with this whole plan that will definitely have a tremendous impact on Delray Beach. Some of the things that have already been indicated, there's an article concerning Bill Posey, who indicates specifically, I write to request that the Government Accounting Office conduct a review of Old Wood, Florida, similar to the GAO review conducted for Express West, examining the potential risk and cost to taxpayers. So he is on it, and rightfully so. I mean, this project has a junk bond rating. So anyone that is investing in this, and that 12.5 or 12.75% interest that they are putting out, they need to do that because it's not going to go anyplace in terms of that. I mean, who would want to invest in junk bonds, companies with that kind of rating? There's something that came up in one of the local newspapers about Megabus Hollywood. There's a bus, it's a double-track bus that travels just about the same route as Old Wood, Florida, and you can book in advance for $1 if you call in advance, and it goes even further than Palm Beach. I think it ends up in Tampa, so that's really a good deal. And for $20 at any time, weekend or whatever, one way is also a great deal. I don't think the trains are going to be able to compete with that. There's also a great article by this guy, Carl Hayson, who is a Miami resident, and he also happens to be a writer for the Miami Herald. And what he says here is, and I'm going to give you some of his own words, the this actually is what our Governor Scott said. It's all about funding that will be provided by somebody other than the state. It's a private company. Scott's earlier indicated, and he's clueless because all about Florida is a future train wreck for taxpayers, with possible exceptions to the Hogarth's Express passenger rail service, almost always lose money and end up being subsidized by the government. He goes on to indicate something also very interesting. He indicates that Scott's chief of staff, Adam Hollingsworth, was formerly an employee of a company related to All Aboard Florida. So here he is, the governor, that's supposedly taking a hands-off approach here, not providing any money at all. He kills a multi-billion-dollar deal for railroad service that the feds are willing to give, and then a few years later, his assistant, Adam Hollingsworth, who had previously worked for All Aboard, is in here planning this whole strategy as far as getting All Aboard Florida to work. The last thing I just want to mention, because it really hasn't been mentioned as yet, and that's security. There's a serious security issue with this freight. We don't know what is in this freight.
Right.
There have been instances where they found dead bodies, guns, toxic substances, and there's another interesting article about this by a gentleman named Anthony Kermry, who's from Homeland Security Today, and he specifically says in his report that there is a serious problem here with regard to freight and what happens. And God forbid one of these freight trains derails, or even a passenger train derails, you know, you have to vacate a whole town sometimes. This is what happened recently, where a train went off the tracks, I think in Arkansas. Several people were killed, and they had to have the town just vacate. So there's a lot more to this that isn't being said. The other point I want to make too, that you know, there's a serious issue in terms of emergency service. Just imagine an emergency vehicle backed up in a line trying to get through even after the passenger train has come, and that emergency ambulance is trying to get through where seconds count in terms of making a difference in someone's life. I had taken a course in CPR, and they say that the first minute or two is crucial to make the difference whether someone is going to survive or not. So that's also something to really think about, that it's not just a train passing through in 50 seconds when you have an emergency vehicle that's backed up in a line and can't get through to save someone's life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al. I really appreciate that. That's very true. We do wonder what goes through on those freight cars.
One more question.
Great.
Yeah. Just, if you accept the fact they're going to spend the money, would an alternative be to encourage the loaning of the money to Amtrak? Well, in other words, they're going to spend the money somewhere, the federal government. It always gets spent, you know that. So, no department gets money, they don't spend it. What is your position about putting the money, so it doesn't appear to be anti-railroad passenger anywhere, what is your position about putting the money into Amtrak? In other words, giving them an alternative question one.
You know,
Then, assuming, I guess Amtrak's out there,
you know, I'm going to be very clear about this. Florida Not All Aboard is not about disliking trains. We do not dislike trains whatsoever. It's just this particular project. It is the fact that they are using this taxpayer-backed loan for a private company. A private company that claims they're privately funded. Amtrak does apply for a loan and they do get it. So they haven't applied for this $1.5 billion. It's not, Amtrak doesn't run on the FEC line. That's the whole point of our opposition, is what it's going to do to our downtowns. It's bisecting our towns. It's not how this money is spent for a train. It's just specifically about this project.
No, and I agree, and I don't think that message is out. That was the point I was making.
Okay. Okay.
Being supportive of your efforts.
I know I do. I just want you to know, this isn't about hating trains. It's about this project and what it's going to do to our communities.
The other question I had was, if this is all a big real estate play and everything else, you've got this great grassroots group that you've been putting together and everything else, why don't we buy the corridor from Flagler?
Oh.
Turn it around the other way.
Can we do that?
I'm serious. Turn it around the other way. You've got all these communities.
You might just get that chance, okay?
I agree.
Is that in the RIP loan?
This is an opinion, okay? And I want to be very clear about an opinion. There's a lot of opinions on what would happen if the RIF loan didn't go through. This company is hemorrhaging, not losing, hemorrhaging money at a staggering rate. They are borrowing at the worst interest rates on the planet. And even then, the company didn't make them the loan because it was 1275. They said, here's a deed to the front door. By default, you can have the whole thing. So, what's that mean? My thesis is that if this company does not complete this transaction, the next step could be a liquidation of this railroad. I'm not going to use harsh terms because I'm going to tread lightly here. We all, your community, mine, may be able to buy their corridor, buy it back, own it for ourselves. The fact that you're paying probably a couple $100,000 a year in maintenance cost on your grade crossings alone is worth your community purchasing your share of the railroad tracks. And I appreciate you answering that, or asking that, because I've been just dying to get it out, okay?
But
I'm just curious, you're suggesting the possibility that Fortress sells their FEC, what they own, or the right-of-way, or whatever it is, the tracks, the railroad?
It's not sell. They're going to lose it.
Yes, but somebody will buy it. That's what you're saying. It'll be available for purchase, right?
This company is so debt-riddled, I'm going to answer your question directly. This is so debt-riddled that they may not survive post all aboard Florida, and there answers your question. Yes, it may come up for sale.
Right, and I hope you're not suggesting that communities/individuals, residents, are going to have more money to spend than private companies that have some use for that kind of real estate or property, or other railroad companies? Is that what you mean?
I don't think that there's enough freight, even with this, to support the debt that's on this thing right now. I don't think it's ever going to be
Right,
possible.
supporting the debt is different from going into liquidation. Right, anyway.
Right.
I
Go ahead.
No, it's a long conversation.
Yeah.
It's a long,
How
it's
about
a,
after pay back the bond? I mean, that's, who knows in liquidation and bankruptcy what happens to all the bond holders. So,
what's your
okay.
background, sir?
I've worked in finance at times.
Okay, so you understand where I'm going with this.
Well, I do. Okay, I just wanted some clarity, so thank you. I understand.
You had a
I think it's
question, too.
fantastic, but
It's a stretch. I told you it's dreamy. I get out there a little bit. What if? Okay?
Well, I'm not in finance, so I'm trying to understand. The freight is where the money's got to be. That freight traffic. Otherwise, why would they be doing this? I don't even get it. Unless there's tremendous money in the freight traffic down the road with the widening of the canal and the deepening of the ports and all that stuff. So this rail line, this has to be a ridiculous asset. And whether or not somebody else comes in and buys it, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. You don't know. It's an unknown. But that has to be an unbelievable asset. If Fortress can't survive it, and the other thing I want to know, you said okay, so they're hemorrhaging money. So you said there are two criteria to underwriting this loan: credibility and
Feasibility.
Feasibility. Yes. Well, the feasibility argument's being made. Credibility-wise, they're hemorrhaging money.
Right?
They know they're going to be propping up this flawed model if they give them the money.
Right.
It seems like, you know, you read in the paper, it's a done deal, we're going to be railroaded here, but then you listen to your argument, and it sounds like, and then you consider the single choke point bridge over the water up north, and you go, how do they ever get this done? This is ridiculous.
My point.
They can't get the money,
I don't get it.
and I can't imagine what happens up north with all the trains trying to go over one old 100-year-old track. None of this makes any sense. I mean, the congressman making this argument up in Washington. I mean, this is like, boy, this is the most fun argument they could ever possibly make because it doesn't make any sense.
My concern for all of us is that crazy deals have been done. That's the only crazy money on the planet is in Washington. And they pump $1.5 billion into some deal just because they go like this while they're heading out the door. All right? That concerns me. Feasibility, them getting money overseas. They lost $200 million last year and every year before that. You cannot come up with a loan and repayment. It doesn't make any sense.
Who lost the 200 million?
Fecky did.
For the
East Coast of the railroad.
I have a question. I would assume, and maybe my assumption is incorrect, that these 32 fast trains a day is just a ruse to get 2 tracks and federal funding for more freight. And with gas going up, freight's going up across the country. So it's basically, I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams, even in 3,000, could think that there would be 32 packed fast trains between Miami and Orlando.
Right.
Every place else. And I'm a person who's gone from Delray to New York on the train. I've taken the auto train 13 times. When it is convenient and financially makes sense, that's what I do.
And Amtrak already makes that trip from Miami to Orlando.
That's what
They
I'm
have 4
saying.
trips a day and
So-
they can't fill their trains.
So I think it's all about freight. It's really not about passenger
We
trains.
do too. And the passenger train goes out of
It's
business.
just to get-
It's going to be double tracked and there's
It's
going to be a
just
lot
gonna
more
be double
capacity for
tracked.
freight.
So they can have
That's
more
going to
freight.
remain. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So,
Good. Good.
Just one quick question. Is it about the tracks or is it really about building 20-story towers that'll be there long after?
I think it's both. I think it's real estate and the tracks, honestly.
Stacey, what is the response been in the communities that are around the port? And because there's going to be a lot of pressure and support of Old War Fort.
There are
Are
some.
they finding more resistance than not compared to other parts of the track route?
There are some communities that are supportive, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's more the elected officials that are supportive. Many of the residents along by these ports and in these communities do not know about this project, or if they do know about it, they think it's a done deal. And I've also heard the other way. This is so crazy, it's not going to happen, and they're not concerned about it. So it's lack of awareness for people, and it's why your environmental assessment. Did anybody know there was a public comment period last fall? You didn't, and that's why this project's going under the radar.
Hey, just one thing is there's signs here for you folks who want to take them on the way out. And just for a little Delray pitch, there's a city commissioner page. Go to your Google and write Delray Beach City Commission. On the city commission page, there's the emails of the mayor, Jordana, all of our Shelley Petrilli, our city commissioners. Please write them. They're having a workshop on September 9th about this. Please write them and give your views on the local things, in addition to your congressmen, senators, and other things that are on your page.
And there's elected officials,
Thank you.
all the contact information right here. Please grab it on your way out and grab as many copies as you want to get them out to write the elected officials from city all the way to federal. Thank you very much. We appreciate you all coming out this morning. I hope we answered a few questions and shared some more knowledge. Please grab some papers again on your way out.